Alright, so today I'm back with another Blue Lock leak video, and today we will go over chapter 295, which starts with us getting into the fiery pits of the Manshine City versus FC Barcha match, where we actually get to see one goal, before we move on to seeing which player is the ultimate player and number one of the Neo EGOIST League. But I don't want to say too much, so you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. It actually feels like it was a while since I did a video covering the leaks, even though it was only 2 weeks ago. Anyway, before jumping into it, please leave a like and a comment as well as join the Discord server. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Also, if you want to check out the leaks for yourself, then I will put a link down in the comments where you can look at them. Alright, so we start this chapter with the text saying, "Meeting with Reo that changed everything. Two of them took on the world." After that, we see the iconic flashback with Nagi jumping down the stairs to save his phone from breaking. He also says that it all started in that moment. Reo had found him, and his soccer had started. But the flashbacks don't stop just yet, as Nagi once again thinks back to both when he beat Isagi all the way back in the first selection, and when he once again beat Isagi in the Neo EGOIST League. He says that the fire, the frustration, the sorry, and the thank you, he overcame it all, and then beat Isagi. After that, he thinks back to when he and Reo were in the locker room, and Nagi looked super locked in, as he told Reo that the two of them needed to change. He looked intensely at Reo, as he told Reo to give him a new fire, saying that he can't dream of becoming the world's best, and saying it's the end for him and Reo. But just then, we finally get into the match between them and FC Barcha. Reo tells Nagi to skip this ball, and he just tells him, "Yes, boss." When Reo then gets the ball, he thinks that this is the worst situation for him and Nagi, thinking that what they need is to appeal to others and raise their salaries. If they don't make it to the top 23, then they will ultimately disappear before their dreams of the World Cup become true, saying that right now, Nagi is currently in the 11th spot, while Reo is in the 16th spot, and that they are barely above the cutoff line, but still for the effective plays for their team to win, betting everything on proving their existence. Anyway, after that, Reo sent the ball to Nagi while he headed it back towards Reo. Otoya said that Nagi committing to a post play is a rare sight, and Bachira, alongside Otoya, just asked Nagi if he was scared. However, Nagi told them that it's not like they aren't aiming for the goals. The mindset of shooting when you can shoot doesn't change, asking Reo if he is right. Reo says that he is spot on and that their status quo is death, and he then gets the ball but makes a super cold backheel pass and tells someone to enjoy the change. Now who is it that's getting this pass? Well, it's none other than the absolute GOAT of Blue Lock. Chigiri, who we can see is running towards the ball at an insane speed, tells Reo that he's got some nice eyes and calls him a chameleon. Otoya looks back and is a bit caught off guard by this, as he says that Reo didn't choose to combo with Nagi. On the other hand, Reo looks back towards Chigiri with an intense look and says that this is his feel-good spot, right? Which we can very clearly see that it was as Chigiri catches up with the ball and uses his 44 Panther snipe to make an absolutely insane-looking goal. Like, for real, it looks insane. Like we can see a whole panther in the goal. Anyway, the commentator says that it's a goal and that Chigiri makes it 1-0 for Manshine City. Chigiri runs towards Reo and gives him a super cold high five. Reo is extremely hyped by this goal and says that this is fine and that he first secured an assist and now Nagi will. However, we doesn't get to know what it is that he is saying, as we instead get blessed by the madman Ego, who calls them diamonds in the rough like always. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you are already down there, why not leave a like as well? Anyway, his face comes on for everyone in the Bastard Munchen vs PXG Stadium, and he congratulates Bastard Munchen on their victory. He then tells them that England vs Spain, which started at the same time, concluded a while ago, before revealing that they have the results and the bid prices, and with an insane-looking face, he tells them that they will now start the final salary auction and broadcast it to all teams. After that, we see Isagi standing alongside Corona, Hiyori, and the Rat. Anyway, he's in his own mind and thinks that the final rankings are finally here. He says that the difference between him and Rin before the match was almost 50 million yen, and thinking that he's dedicated everything just to reverse that. After that, Ego continues talking and says that those who won the Neo EGOIST League and will represent Japan in the U20 World Cup are these 23 players. Isagi thinks that nothing but seeing himself as the number one matters. However, as we see Isagi looking super anticipated on the screen and telling himself to come on and that he needs to be first, the commentator says that with the bid of 240 million yen, it is none other than Rin Itoshi. In that moment, everything goes dark around Isagi, and he looks absolutely crushed as he can't believe it, and says that he still can't reach it. He looks down at the ground, furious, and he looks super mad, but then someone calls his name. It's Rin on his side, who asks Isagi where he is looking, calling him a scrub before telling him to lift his face. As Isagi does that, his eyes widen, and they look like they have just seen stars, as he can see on the monitor that both Rin and Isagi are at a tied #1 spot with 240 million yen. However, something a bit more interesting is that Rin's offer came from none other than his brother's club, Real, which would be so insane to see them playing side by side. Also, Isagi's offer came from bastard Munchen. Anyway, Rin tells Isagi that it looks like the world wants to make them rivals and calls it hot. Isagi still can't believe it as he says that he just got the same offers of 240 million yen and came to the #1 spot. We see Igarashi on the side, almost tearing up, while under him, both Hiyori and Yukimiya look super proud of him. The announcer then says, "Who would have guessed?" Yoichi Isagi also got a bid of 240 million and finished at the #1 spot alongside Itoshi Rin. Isagi almost looks maniacal as he says that he's finally reached it. He's now the #1 player, but he says that it wasn't a complete victory, but selling his soul for the sake of goal and victory paid off. We also see a small panel of Kaiser still sitting on the ground, and it looks like he's just lost everything as he looks devastated. Anyway, back to the GOAT Isagi, who says that he craved betting his life, and then he just screams out of excitement and says that this is the pleasure of being #1. He also takes his fist towards his chest to celebrate, and this panel is just amazing. Like, I feel so happy seeing Isagi experience this joy after continuously trying his best and fighting to become the #1. Anyway, the text says that the roar that sounds through the world, the ego or joy of being #1, runs through his body. Now it doesn't look like we have the title for the next chapter, or even if there will be a break next week or not just yet, so we will just have to wait and see. But I'm so excited for the next chapter as I thought that we would get to see everyone's rankings in this chapter, but it seems like they are holding that information secret for now, which is both a good and bad thing, as I like that it builds up a super intense feeling having to wait for the final 23 rankings. But I'm so impatient, so I just want to read it now. However, I guess waiting just one more week won't hurt. Anyway, now let's quickly go over this chapter now with the panels from the Manshine City game. I feel like we can almost conclude that the Nishioka theory might be wrong, even though right now it's like I predicted it in my video, before that Chigiri would get the first goal before Nishioka comes in and gets the other two, but it just doesn't look like that will happen, unfortunately. Now I know that a lot of people would have been upset if that happened, but I think that it would have been extremely cool to see. So even though the hope is low, I'm still praying that the GOAT Nishioka will come. Now on the topic of that match, I was super happy seeing just everyone again, as it's been so long since we got to see most of the players. I was obviously most happy seeing Chigiri, and even seeing him score a goal got me super excited, as we both know that eventually, he will be the one to come out on top and become the #1 striker in Blue Lock. Lastly, I saw that a lot of people were salty over Isagi and Rin getting the same bid, but however, I do feel like it was executed extremely well because the story can just build up so much better from now on, but that's just what I think. Please let me know down in the comments what you think of these bids and if you were happy or sad about them. If you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.